Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford. And joining us today as our opening kill, he is the host of Last Week On and Into You.
Adam Strawn, how you doing, guys?
Hello. What was the last thing we had you on for?
Was it Evil Dead?
No.
It can't be that long ago. No, there has to have been something in the middle.
There was something, I just don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
I
just
spent a
remember
while
Evil
since we've
Dead.
done guests anyway, though. So
Yeah. Adam, did you do Yellow Jackets? Maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did. Yeah, yes, that's right. Jesus, yes, yes.
I think you did like two of those,
I think-
right?
Yeah,
Wasn't there like one Zach couldn't do and it was like me, you, and Ashley, maybe?
that's right. Yeah, we did two
Yeah.
episodes and we did the finale, like all of us did,
Yeah,
right?
because it was
yeah,
so
yeah,
good that I wanted y'all back on for the
Yeah.
finale. And,
Yeah, oh, it was so good.
I can't wait till that show comes back. I hope it comes back this year. I know they're like starting to film pretty soon. So
I think so.
I don't know, but we're here to talk 28 years later. The Bone Temple, the movie that they shot back to back with last year's 28 years later. And I saw it on Thursday. I've been so excited to talk to y'all about it, just to share thoughts with anybody about it. And I want to go immediately into it. What were
Wait.
your theater experiences? What?
Wait, I want us to guess what we always do, guess what the other one thought.
Okay. Okay. Well, you go first then. What are
I think you
guessing?
loved it. I think you loved it more than the first one.
Okay. Yeah, I did. And then, I mean, you had to. There's no way you didn't love it more than the first one, and you just, I feel like emotionally you would have liked the first one probably a lot more, but I think overall you liked this one more.
No.
No.
I really liked this one, but I had a lot of notes. I had a lot of notes, and I thought it had a really big lull for a good 20 minutes where I was like, do I hate this? But I still ended up really liking it.
Yeah.
It felt a little directionless at points to me, where the first one felt very like, this is our emotional story.
What are you doing?
We focused on this like kid. I didn't fucking care about this stupid cartoon Jimmy. And I was like, we're seeing too much of him.
Ian is stressed out in life in general right now, and I think that has rubbed off onto his opinion of this movie. So take it with a
I
grain
still
of
really
salt.
liked it.
We're gonna
No,
also
you've said
guess
it now.
Adam. We're gonna guess Adams as well. Where we'll each.
Oh, please.
guess
I know Adam loved it.
I'm gonna, yeah,
Yeah.
probably better than the first one too. So, Adam,
Okay,
what did you
so-
think?
I really love this movie, but there's parts of the first one that I liked a lot better than this movie. But the kind of lull that Ian talked about, I loved because we got to sit within the terror of the movie and that's what I loved about it. So, like, I mean, even Danny Boyle said, like, the first movie is about family, this movie is about evil, and then the third movie is going to be about redemption. And
There's another one?
Yeah, there's a trilogy confirmed.
So
Oh.
it's not filmed yet. So they're
Okay.
yeah.
But Danny Boyle's coming back to do the third movie. Alex Garland has written all three. But nah, I really fell into this movie. And it's interesting because, like, you know, we'll obviously go into details and everything, but just from the start, I think the movie establishes itself really well of this is the type of film you're going to be watching, so be fucking ready.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. Like, the tone is so different from the first movie, and it does that great thing for me where it's like, it still exists within the same world as the first movie, but it's doing something different. And like, that's what I love what a sequel really does. So like, you know where you are, you kind of know the feeling of it, but then when it's, you know, the tonality, it feels very different. You're like, oh man, like we are going in a different direction here. And you're right, Ian, like Spike, like becomes like basically a background character for a lot of this movie because we really push forward, like, you know, Ray Fiennes' doctor character and stuff like that, which I kind of loved, and we'll talk about the reasons why. But no, I think like the themes of this movie, what they were exploring, a little bit was heavy-handed on the nose and a little bit obvious in places, but I really loved where they went with it. But no, I was a big fan of this movie.
Perfect. Well, I think so. Just because Adam, you had the idea of like ranking them in the franchise, and usually that's a question for the end, but I think we should start out with that actually. So, what would you rank the franchise? Like, where would you put this in that?
Okay. Well, I would say so. It's like 28 days, weeks, years, and then Bone Temple. So I'm going to put weeks last. Just because I love the opening, and I think the rest of the movie, I don't know, it doesn't do as much for me as what the other three movies do. Ooh, I'm probably gonna say 28 years later, then this movie, then 28 days later, and then weeks.
Okay. Huh. I'll probably go with Bone Temple first.
Mm-hmm.
I think 28 years, 28 days, and 28 weeks. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sold on that. And Ian, you, how long has it been since you've watched it? Or have you watched it more recently than we have? Because I don't
The
remember
sequel
what
I've
we were
watched
talking.
that
Okay.
28,
Mm,
28 weeks later, I've watched a lot. That's my favorite. That is hands down my favorite. Still stays my favorite. Um,
Damn.
I think it is one of the best zombie movies
mm.
ever. Um, it doesn't. I don't. I know that the series does this a lot and people like jerk off to this, but I don't need humans were the monsters the whole time. I fucking know that. I live in the real world. I know they're the monsters. I don't need a horror movie that's telling me that. Show me the monsters. Make the monsters monsters. And that movie does not do that at all. And I'm like,
Okay.
yes, thank you. I don't need it. I'm not stupid.
This
Don't.
is the franchise for that. You know that, right?
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. And like, I think that is such a like I don't know. I find
Yeah.
that like metaphor very like sophomoric of like a dude that smoked a bowl and is like, you know what'd be wild? If in the monster movie, the monsters were the people.
I
And it's
don't
like
know.
fucking
It
duh,
still
fucking
works
Mm.
for
duh.
me. Yeah, it very much still carries for me when they do that.
Nah,
Because it's
nah.
just, I just like seeing explorations of humanity in every single form. So
Mm.
that's really cool.
I love what they did with that in this movie, to be honest. Ian, we'll get back to your ranking shortly, but like if this movie just had that and didn't have the juxtaposition with like what the doctor was doing with Samson, I think it would have just been like, okay, we feel like we've seen this before, but to have that comparison of where, you know, having power over people but doing something good with it rather bad was like it worked for me in this movie a lot, which we'll get to obviously.
Well, that was why I was still able to like this one a lot because
Right.
we did have the both. I wasn't
Yes.
just the people. If it was, I probably would have hated this movie.
Mm.
But so my ranking is 28. I had to look up. So I'm like, wait, is it weeks, months? 28 weeks later, 28 years later, Bone Temple, and 28 days later.
Okay.
That's
All
my
right.
ranking.
Which is pretty crazy because like I don't know, everybody loves 28 Days Later, so
Mm.
much. I think
I
it's one
like
of
it.
my least favorite zombie movies, just to be honest. It also makes me
Mm.
feel a little bit sick. It is super shaky, that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but I also just don't. How do you say his name? Cillian or Killian?
Yeah,
Is it
Killian.
Killian? Killian? Yeah.
It's
Biggest fan.
Killian.
Not the biggest fan of him. So, him
I
as
mean,
the
I like
lead.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Where do we start with this one? Like, I think the opening just alone is what like I was sucked in immediately. Just the black screen,
Establishes the
that
tone. Yeah.
and all the
It
screaming
does.
and
Yeah.
It does. And I kind of like that it's like blank
mm,
with the
Yeah.
screaming.
Hmm.
I thought that reminded me of Barbarian when the sound is like all crazy, but it's just her pulling up to the house, but the sound is like crazy, and then she steps out to go like
yeah.
knock on the door. That's
Mm.
what it remind and like in a good way. I like that. I think that's like a good because we don't need oh, this is what it's like we fucking know. This is the fourth in this series. We don't need like a recap that there are zombies with the rage virus and it's not
Hmm.
zombies, but it is like we don't need that. And I was glad that we just
Mhm.
that was a cool way to set the like tone.
I loved the opening. Like, even just like going straight into they just use swimming pool and then having like, Sir Jimmy, which we'll talk about a lot, like being sat like in the lifeguard chair and just like being like, right, guys, like, Spike, here's this knife, defend yourself. You have to kill him to become a Jimmy. Like, and obviously that coming into it later on and like that becoming a recurring thing that we see later on when he makes the other guy in the house later on, like choose and says, right, if you want to be a Jimmy, fight, choose who you're going to fight. But just like when he literally, stabbed that knife into that guy's leg and like, just the blood that was coming pouring out of that
Yeah.
artery and just going everywhere and the way that Jimmy just sat and just kind of laughed and watched it happen like the main Jimmy. I don't know, I think for me, as I said earlier, it just really set the tone with like going from the black screen and like hearing the screaming and then going to that. It was like this movie ain't fucking around. Like we are really going to push like into further dark territory and to have a character based off the look of Jimmy Savile, who we can talk about later on, it kind of really did have to go there.
Yeah.
But I loved the opening and just establishing the tone and just not, almost like we're like Spike at that moment where you kind of want to look away, but the movie's like, turning your head back around and making you watch this shit. And I really liked it for that.
That's what the movie feels like to me. It feels like I'm watching or I'm reading a book that's narrated by Spike, right? And we're getting a
Mm,
lot of his observations on everything versus
hmm.
because he's almost he is dissociating himself from a lot of what's happening,
Yeah.
right? In order to just survive. And I think that's really interesting to get to see the movie through that, rather than him being so active. And we know that like with another one, he would come back. Hopefully, I don't know. The way they bring people back in these movies,
Yeah,
he
who
could be
knows?
there for like two
Yeah.
seconds. Um, But it is also just, I appreciate that we didn't come into it with, like you said, Ian, some sort of recap. We went immediately into the violence of it all. And it was really intense and it was a little hard to watch. I was at the Alamo Draft House. I ordered food and I couldn't eat it. And I'm not usually like that, but the violence was like pretty hardcore in this one. So I'm glad we
Hmm.
had that and all the scenes with the doctor to sort of balance it because then when we go to the doctor, it's always like a lot more serene, a lot more
Calm.
calm, at least until
Yeah.
the end, right? Because the
I
violence is fucking heavy in this.
Hmm.
So I feel like almost that's like one of my issues is this sets up for like this is Jimmy's experience or
Mm,
Spike
Like,
like his, and it felt like it was not. It felt like he was a minor character in this, and I kept waiting for him to be the main character, and it felt like he was not.
mm,
Like it felt like this opening was telling us you are going to be seeing like his journey, and a lot of times with the Jimmies, I was like, wait, where is he? Like when
yeah.
we would see them as a group, I didn't know where he was,
mm,
or I couldn't pay attention. I wasn't seeing him. I was just seeing the scene that was happening. So I don't know. I think that like I expected him to be the fully main character again.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, because I do. I agree with you both though. It is like not like it's a fun watch. I mean, I watched it. I didn't look away, but it's like it's a good opening. It's not fun to
yeah.
watch, but it's like well done to be like
Immediately
this is gonna be
establishes where
terrible.
we're at,
Yeah.
right? It
Hmm.
immediately picks up. I'm glad that we skipped the sort of like him going along with the Jimmies and walking with
Yeah.
them, and you
I
know,
wouldn't have minded just seeing them
mhm.
get there, like him realizing what he has to do. I felt like I just needed that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I was unsure, like is he there knowing that this is what is he surprised to get there? I just like felt like I wanted like two
Well, and how
minutes
long
more.
was he there too, right? Before
Yeah.
he realized he had
Right.
to do something like that.
Mm.
Because your brain automatically goes to pretty immediate, but I
Right.
mean, I don't know. But so that's more of an issue for you that he's not centered as
Yeah.
the main character. Okay.
Because like if you take this, so my two friends I saw it with did not see the one last year.
Oh,
Um,
really?
and I was like, you guys have seen? And they were like, yeah, we read the Wikipedia, whatever. We like horror movies. And I was like, okay. And they said they liked it as a standalone, but they were a little lost.
I wonder because I was thinking about that and I
Mm.
was wondering how that could because I'm assuming there's going to be more people doing that, right? Going in to see it and
Yeah.
didn't see the last one.
Mm.
I could see it as a standalone though. I
But
mean, there's context missing, but as if you're just
Right.
following the story, it's there.
I think as well because like Jimmy himself was only in the last movie right at the very end.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, I know we saw him as a kid,
in the
obviously at the
beginning,
beginning.
yeah.
Right, as a kid, but like this version of Jimmy, we only saw right at the end of like the movie. And even then, it was like a lot of people. When I went to see the first movie, like here, like in America, like I know so many people around me were like, "Who the hell was that?" Like
Yeah.
at the end, like had no idea. Whereas me as a British person watched that, like I nearly lost my shit. I was like, "What are we doing here? Is that Jimmy Savile? Like, what the fuck is going on?" And it just felt surreal to be surrounded by people who had like no idea. And I was like, am I going insane? Like, am I the only one who
I had no
recognizes this
idea until
guy?
we had that phone call.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had no fucking idea what that was in reference to. And then
Mm.
when you told me and I went and looked up all the Savile, Jimmy
It's
Savile, some
Jimmy Savile, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dark, man.
Wild. But like, but I love how much reference they like reference to like Jimmy basically basing his personality off that. So Jimmy
Mhm.
Savile died in 2011. This movie is set in 2002. And to give a little bit of backstory for those that don't know about Jimmy Savile, basically he was like a DJ, TV personality, like big in like UK television, ran Top of the Pops for so many years, blah 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 blah. But he did so much charity work for like, you know, so many charities in England. He raised, I think it was something close to like 60 million pounds for like
Mhm.
charities in his time, which is in context, like in a void over here is amazing. But in doing that, obviously, when he died in 2011, all of this came out about him where he was this huge pedophile and like
Mhm.
sexually
Oh, it
harassed so
wasn't until
many
after he
people
died. I thought it was
after he did.
like
How
So the
did
thing is,
that? What's the
Ian,
context of it? Yeah, how did all
so
of that come out?
so it's interesting because there were clues there for a long time, but some of it was covered up.
Mm.
There was people like, if you read, there's an interview with the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, whose name I'm forgetting, and he actually called it out, like in an interview. But then that interview was then the part where he called it out was then retracted from the interview when it was aired on TV. And then even like in Jimmy Savile's own autobiography, which I think he wrote itself or co-wrote, he mentions some not explicit detail, but he does heavily reference some things that he's done, which, he looks back on and he disagrees with. And like that was like overlooked as well by authorities because this guy had connections with he was involved with everyone. I mean, like he was knighted by the royal family. He was Sir Jimmy Savile. So it was that kind of thing of, oh, well, this patron saint who's raised so much money for all these charities, let's put the focus on that. And there was so much protection put around him. And then once he did pass away, there was so many of his victims who came forward who felt like they could now because he'd obviously died, saying, look, this is what's happened. And then they started to look into it and they found all of this with so many people coming forward. There was materials that they found, some things that were written down and recorded, the times that he spent in children's hospitals, and just all of this was all looked at and they found this information.
Which
So
is crazy. Yeah.
was it like the Harvey Weinstein thing where it was like an open secret, like a lot of people did know, they just didn't talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't probably because we were talking 80s and 90s, so it was a similar period of
Oh,
time as
okay,
well.
okay. I thought it
But
was okay.
yeah, but it wasn't so much as an online trail, so to speak. But there was
Right.
definitely a paper trail, and a lot of witnesses were there to come forward, very much with the Harvey Weinstein thing there as well.
Which
Because
adds
the
to
reason
yeah,
that
go
the reason that made me think of that, because I thought of like Courtney Love at the VMAs on the red carpet when she's like, "Don't go up to Harvey Weinstein's room if he asks you
Right,
to
I mean,
go."
everybody
right.
fucking knew about that shit.
But
And then
like
all the
Yeah,
people
everyone
who
kind of
act
like,
surprised at this point,
laughed it
right?
off. Hmm.
yeah, but like
Everybody
when she
enables
said that,
behavior like that.
it wasn't like it was kind of like this, where it was like people either knew or they're just like, "Oh, she's being crazy. That's Courtney Love," but like actually she was being
Right.
serious. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was good in Jack O'Connell's character as well because they referenced some things that Jimmy Savile actually said. So his expression of "how is that," which means "how is that." It's used in cricket, that term, but Jimmy Savile himself used to say, "How's about that, then?" That was his
Mhm.
catchphrase, and he's from Leeds, so it's further up north in England, south from me, but that was his expression. "How's about that, then?" That's what he always used to say. So him saying that, and then obviously Jimmy Savile being involved in charity and what him
Right.
exploiting his power to be in that position and what he did involved with charities, and then him calling acts of terrible atrocities in this movie, calling them charity. I thought was an interesting tie to the evil of the real Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, it did make everything a lot darker too in context because in this, Jimmy Savile never would have been exposed, right? Like by
Hmm.
2011 never would have happened.
Exactly.
So this is just I think what is his name? Jimmy Crystal in this one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
is his name Jimmy? Real name is Jimmy, right? He doesn't have another name. Jimmy
It's
Crystal. Yeah, okay.
Jimmy Crystal. Yeah.
Okay. Well, he his character was so interesting to me because he is so just arrested at the age that all of this happened still, right? Like he's still super obsessed with Teletubbies and the sort
Right.
of references that he makes and Jimmy Savile, and that would have been somebody that he was watching on TV at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so um but then I don't know, it still mixes well with I don't know, the satanic worship and all of that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I That does lead me to the question I've been waiting to ask you, Adam. So oftentimes the Jimmy Crystal, it really felt like there was something specific that I wasn't getting, which is the case. But I was really curious, especially with what you just told us. So he's not that, like, I kind of thought it was like, oh, he is the pedophile or he is that pedophile's son, but he's not.
No, no, no. So he is modeling himself on that character, on that person, Jimmy Savile. So he's not him, but he's heavily influenced by him. So Jimmy Savile even used to dress in tracksuits like what he's got
mhm.
on, like that purple tracksuit. That's exactly how Jimmy Savile used to dress. All the necklaces and the rings, that's exactly the same. So I think
So
it's
it,
him being inspired by this look of Jimmy Savile, but obviously just taking it down a darker route.
Yeah,
Because him,
imagine the cult that you would have built
yeah,
if this had happened to
exactly.
you when you were a kid. We'd all be in the cult of Buffy Summers and shit, right? Like everybody would be named after Scoobies.
okay, because that was where I was a little confused because I knew that he died in the, like, he would have died or it wouldn't have been outed because he died
Mhm.
after this
Right.
virus got out, but I couldn't quite link them because I felt
Mm,
like I just needed him to be like, I really loved, uh, I love just like doesn't even say the name, but just was
mm,
so unclear about that fact. I was
mm,
wondering about it the entire fucking movie. I was like, so was Jimmy the pedophile dude, was he a pastor and that was like what his dad was supposed to, like his
mm.
dad was that guy? Like I really was trying to connect the dots of like this feels like an in joke that I'm on the outside of, so I'm trying to get it.
Feels like one of those
Um,
Yeah.
movies that just has to they don't care if you're going to get that reference or not. It's kind of up to you to go home
Yeah.
afterwards and do
But
your
it's
own sort of
weird to make it
research on it.
so specific then.
Hmm. And
It's
it
like
is
having
specific.
Mickey.
Yeah, every reference that he does is like
Yeah.
something that I feel like I need to deep dive into.
It's like
And I
having
mean,
Mickey Mouse in the Avengers and just not being like, this is a Disney cartoon character, just being like, hey, Mickey. And everyone's like, that's our buddy Mickey. What are you talking about? This isn't
I mean,
weird.
it's definitely like a very British reference, right? Because like, there's a lot of Americans didn't know who Jimmy Savile was, and I felt that when I went to see the
You
first
taught
like
both of
this
us who he was.
yeah, but I mean, as well, it makes sense within that context of kind of what you were saying, Zach, where like he's obviously a young kid, he's watching the Teletubbies at the time. At this peak of time, Jimmy Savile was huge on TV. So like for people to look, even at a TV show called Jim'll Fix It, where like people could write in and they were like, hey, can you help us go on holiday because we can't afford it? And he would help families do that. He was seen as this patron saint of like TV. So like people aspired and like looked up to this guy. So it would make sense for this kid to look and be like, oh my God, I want to, base myself on Jimmy, but then obviously taking it down a much darker route. And I think that's kind of where it starts to, break away from the fact that this is not Jimmy Savile, but he's definitely influenced by that look of like how people looked at this person. And I think that kind of bleeds more into the themes as well of this movie, which is we can look at people in a certain way, but the reality is they can be dark as fuck, and like how we look at people and how we interpret that.
So then
But
Jimmy
yeah.
Crystal's sort of turn to worshiping Satan when his father was, this pastor or priest or
Mm.
um because yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit to just sort of straighten my thoughts out on it, I guess. So he is believing his father is Satan, honestly believing his father is Satan, right? Because
Mm.
why exactly?
Well, in the movie before this, like obviously there's that scene, wasn't there, when he ran into the church and
Yeah.
like he was like shouting at his dad, and his dad kind of accepted his fate. But his dad as well, I love like when he does that. If you go back and watch that movie, the cross in front of his dad is upside down, like the shadow on the floor, which I think is really cool.
Mhm.
But then like when he runs in and his dad is, quoting, I think it's like the Book of Revelations, like the biblical quote about the end of the earth and the rise of the devil. But then that's the point where he's like, but surely he saw his dad die, like
Yeah.
because he hid like what in a little bunker when all of like the infected came in and like basically ate his dad and killed him. So then why would he then see this doctor and think like, oh, this is what like old Nick is what he called him
Mhm.
when he saw his own father die? You know what I mean? So like that
It
that's
did
the
look a little bit like his father from afar, at least, right? Like when his dad
mm,
is the last image that he gets of his dad is when his dad is infected, right? And he is like
mhm.
covered in blood, so he looks like he's
Right.
got some red skin. So I was
Mm,
like, maybe thinking that, but then I don't know. I was slightly, confused
mm.
on that.
It could be as well, like, was he thinking like, the infections like infected his father in a way that has made him the devil, rather than made him like just like a mindless infected.
I was going to say, I kind of took it as he was bullshitting them the whole time, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
I kind of took it as like, he like, like you said, as a kid, and then this, anything goes, right? Of course, you're going to be stunted if you're a child and this happens. He related his dad to that. I don't think he ever thought this guy was his dad.
I don't. I think he did.
I think he thought he was the devil. I think he genuinely was like, wait, this
Mm.
guy might be the devil when he was walking up.
Mm,
And I think he like was realizing the difference that like, no, this is not his dad, but this might be the devil because he's like covered in blood.
Yeah.
The chick was saying that he danced with the demons. Um, so I took it as like he never thought it was his dad. Like to him, because he was always lying to them, and we saw that he knew he was lying to them,
Yeah.
mm,
right? That was the big thing. So I almost took it as like he created this lore in his head that he also knew was bullshit, and when he was not with them, he could acknowledge it was bullshit. But then he couldn't explain this guy
Yeah.
covered like who was all
mm.
red, and that maybe it is the devil. Because he was reluctant to talk to him, but I don't think if he genuinely was like, "That's my dead father," he would have gone to talk to him. I think it would have
So
just been
I
like,
think I did have a different read on it then because I looked at Jimmy Crystal as a lot more mentally ill because this movie had a lot to like say about, sort of like mental illness and psychosis and stuff like that. And I think Jimmy was suffering from some of that, whether that was brought up by environment or that was something that was already there and was kind of
right,
dormant
yeah, yeah.
before all of this happened.
Mhm.
But I think the last images that he had of his dad, right, were covered in red, leading a group of
Yeah.
these things away. And maybe that would have stuck with him. And maybe he has been searching for his dad the entire time and seeing this old man who would have been sort of the age, 20 years later, that 28 years later, that his father may have been. same orange skin that he I don't know, because what your memory, if that's the last time you saw your dad, like how well do you remember his face, right? So that could have been his dad. Maybe he didn't realize it, but then he realizes it later, and he is manipulative. But also, I do believe that when he is hearing Satan say these things and make these judgments, I do believe he's hearing that in his head.
Oh, I
Like
do.
I think that's interesting. Then what do you
I think
sort of make of that, Adam? Or go
I
ahead, Ian,
think
and then we'll move to Adam.
no,
Okay.
all I was going to say was I think for me, like, there's definitely a reading there where, and this is kind of where I sit on it, where like how in religious context people always say like we're like we're a child of Christ, you're a child of God, or whatever that is.
Mhm.
And like obviously he saw his father die, like his physical like father, but then in his mind, like the kind of the biblical figure that he's attached himself to is obviously the devil. So then
Mhm.
he is saying the devil is my father. So he's not saying like I'm a child of God or anything like that. Like I am a child of the devil is what he's saying. So therefore, like all this time, like for me, he is fully in the belief in some context, and I'll get to
Mhm.
what you were saying, Ian, where he's like, I am this like almost like weird like devil messiah figure, like the devil is my father. But then later on, when you get the context of when what's she called again? Is it Jimmy? One of the Jimmys, the one from Falcon of the Winter Soldier. When she says like, "Oh, I've seen the devil," and then you catch his face when he's like, "Oh, you have." I think that's the moment when he's like, I believe that I am this. I am telling you that I am this, but is this thing real? And I think he starts to entertain it later on when he's like, oh,
That's
yeah, he's got like castles like this all around the country. And they're like, and she's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Mhm.
So I think
that's
he has a
yeah.
belief there, but I think he is definitely extrapolating like the law around what the truth actually is.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I don't know that he would have been able to consciously say it out loud that like, yeah, I've been lying to these people, but I think that like
Mhm.
I don't think any part of him believed the like it's kind of I mean, you know how I feel about religion anyway, but I kind of related it to how religious people always are, where it's like, God was speaking to me. But if someone told them, no, I hear God's voice in my head,
Mhm.
that religious person would be like, oh, they're crazy. Like they wouldn't believe that,
But
even
later
though,
with the doctor, right? Doesn't he mention that he does hear him all the time?
Mm, yeah.
So that was the
yeah,
moment that kind of like made me think maybe he's
And
hearing those
and
things.
right at the end, when he's obviously like crucified on the cross upside down, he is literally saying, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Like he's actually calling out. And then when he looks at obviously Samson sees him in that body of like the devil, then I mean, I know again, he like himself is thinking, "Oh my God, I
Samson
am
was not
seeing him
actually
now."
wearing horns, right?
No, no, no. That's what he was saying.
I
But for
thought
me,
that man went full Yellow Jackets and found some
me
some
too.
some
I
outfit
was
in
like,
the
oh, he got a
jungle.
deer head on his head. Yeah.
he's like, this will do just nicely as he's attaching them. But yeah, like I think in his full psychosis, he was like seeing
Yeah.
that character because that was the first time he saw Samson, right? So like
Yeah.
he was seeing this character as the devil, and that if for him that was like a weird confirmation in his mind of, oh my God, he is real. But why is he forsaking me? Why is he not helping me? I've done all of
That's
this for you.
that's what I took it as. Like in his moments of death, after he's nailed to a cross, he's like, wait, was this all real? That's how I took it. Like his
Mm.
Mm,
brain, as he's like delirious. I mean, we already know he's unstable in general,
mhm.
that like then he's delving into, oh fuck, it was all real. The devil
Yeah.
has come to take me. Um, yeah, I don't know, because I just kept thinking about that specifically. Like I went to 2 years of Catholic school and I remember one of my religion teachers saying, well, the Old Testament is a lot of like folk tales. It doesn't mean it happened exactly that way. And I remember being like, what? Like, we've been taught that this was literally
The
what
school is
happened.
built around this,
Yeah,
right?
like I just
Folk
remember being
tales.
like, man, like what is this woman talking about? This is lore. And like that, like I mean, I already didn't like religion at that point in my life. I was 14, and it just like fully put the nail in the coffin for me of like, this is all bullshit. What the
Yeah.
fuck? And like
Mm,
I kept thinking of that with this, where like he is teaching them the same way that woman taught us the Bible and would say, no, but you have to follow these rules, but then would say, well, they're not, they might not have actually happened. We're just, that's how you
Mhm.
should live your life. Is kind
mm,
of like what I was putting onto him, but also he's so unstable. Who knows? Like it could be
Well, I
both.
think
It
it
could
is.
be-
I do think it's both because I do think
Yeah.
there are moments where we very clearly can see that he is making shit up just on the
Yeah.
fly and lying to them. As far as the whole
especially
doctor
with
thing,
these binoculars.
that's a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge lie. I do think that, but I also think that he is hearing a voice that he is attributing to the devil and those could just very well be like, those impulsive thoughts that you're not supposed to
Right,
act
yeah,
out,
yeah.
right? It could be any of that, but I do think this movie had a lot to say about mental illness
Well,
and I
and I
think they
think
were
to
kind
your
of going
point,
there.
what you said earlier could be true. Like maybe he already was like having mental health issues or like had
I mean,
whatever.
religion can send anybody into psychosis, and if his
Yeah.
father was a fucking, priest,
And the way his
Right.
father reacted by leaving the mom and the daughter in the house to die
Yes.
and just being like, "Karate zombies."
the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, it
Watching
doesn't like
fucking
bode well.
Teletubbies.
Yeah.
Plus, like the trauma of that moment, like how's that going to leave, so many people seeing your
Yeah.
dad being like killed in that way, and the last things he was saying was, "I'm welcoming this, my
Yeah.
son." That's the last thing he said to him before he died. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
fucking hell, who's going to come out on that and be like, "Well, I'm all good"? You know what I mean? Like it's
Welcoming
That was
wild.
crazy.
and running around with like basically seeing his father run around with disciples, right? Like what would how
Exactly.
would that shape your mind? I
Yeah.
fucking Jack O'Connell, man. He's
Oh
having
my
a run
God.
with these villains, right?
Yes.
What else is he been
He was in Sinners. He was
Sinners?
the vampire.
Oh, was he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's sexy vampire in Sinners. Not so
Oh.
sexy in this one,
Right.
but
No, listen, him and Sinners, when he's doing that little jig outside, I'm like, let's go. Like, I want to join that circle and do that jig with you.
Jig did it for you.
it was that.
And the singing, and the singing.
It didn't take much to get Adam outside the barn.
Listen, I was running into that circle. I was like, bite me now, bitch. Let's go.
He's really good at just blending into those characters too, though, because in
Yeah.
this he's so disgusting that I'm like not
Yeah.
attracted
Oh.
to him whatsoever.
Yeah, whenever there was like close
Yeah.
up on his face, I was like, "Ugh."
Fucking
Yeah,
nasty.
them teeth.
Yeah. That ass ain't washed either. So
I was thinking that when they were sleeping in the woods, I was like, how bad do each one of them smell?
all of them. All of them. So I do also where do we want to go next with this then?
Do we want to go into the doctor's plot?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Because I genuinely really liked all the stuff with the
Fucking
doctor.
loved it.
Same.
Obsessed
Great.
with all the Simpson stuff, right? And I'm glad. Listen, I also went to the movie and forgot my glasses, so I was like, I'm gonna be so blind. But I could see enough. I could see all the major shapes and stuff like that. And Simpson, was on display in this one, so I could see when he was swinging around.
You can definitely see that shape.
Yes, I'm
Fucking
glad
hell.
that the prosthetic was back. I think I heard the actor talking about that process, and I think he has like underwear that an appendage is sort of like attached to, and so I was like looking for seams, but I was too blind to see the
Well,
seams.
I mean, I had my glasses on, I didn't see any seams, but
Yeah.
and also I think I'm a hard sell on like the plot of this, but I liked it. Like I'm a hard sell on like, oh, the monster is gonna be good,
Yeah.
and for a while I would be stressed. And then like that stress left me. It was like, no, he's not gonna kill him. Samson likes this. Samson likes
Yeah.
sitting high with
and
him
it
in the
feels
grass.
so dangerous, right? Because like he is a menacing presence just in stature alone,
Yeah.
right? And be knowing
Yeah.
they did a phenomenal job with building him up in the last one and then like continuing his story in this one, right? Because immediately we are expecting that sort of violence and we do get that. Like his first scene is doing his little skull I forgot he did that, by the way. I
Yeah.
forgot that was his method of
His
murder.
predator. Yeah.
And then eating the brain as well. It was like, Jesus.
Well, and seeing from his point of view too, because I was
Yeah.
trying to remember point of view from
Yes.
the last one, so I had to look it up, right? And it looks different, doesn't it? I love your Barbie cup, by the way.
Yes.
And he almost like saw himself, and it did trick me a little bit too, also because I thought the person looked a lot like him just already, and wasn't sure if we were going back into.
I thought it was Aaron Taylor Johnson at first. I was like, ooh, they just killed it. Oh,
who
no, that
wasn't
Yeah, yeah.
even in the movie. You know?
Not even for a second. No.
I really thought we were gonna get a cameo.
Like at the end, maybe, but nah.
I wonder because they had him, so I wonder if he was just cut out as like a strategic move to make this one stand alone a little bit. But
Right.
Because I was wondering that. I mean, no, we're not, but
yeah.
I was like, wouldn't the kid now want to be like, okay, let me go back there? Like, yeah, my dad sucks, but like, I'm safe on that.
Maybe
little...
they're on their way at the end. Maybe that's where they're
True,
sort
yeah.
of like.
Right.
Adam, you know geography over there on the way to that island.
Is the
I mean-
island that like sinks? Like the water like goes away and there's like a bridge.
Sinks?
Is that and not sinks, I guess, but the bridge appears when the water gets lower.
Now,
right?
now
Is
we
that
live
real?
underwater. Yeah, so yeah, Lindisfarne, that is real. So
Oh,
like the tide does go out at I think it's like 2 times a day. But you yeah, and then you can literally walk across it, get to that island, but when the tide comes back in, you can't. So like the movie did that perfectly. That's
yeah,
absolutely bang on. But yeah, like the whole like talking about the Doctor, like this for
yeah,
me was probably the strongest stuff of the movie, like
Yeah.
hands down. I think Ray Fiennes is one of the greatest actors ever, and in this role, like it just he proved it. Like it was
He's
his
so
movie.
good. Yeah.
It was his movie, kind of in a way.
mm,
Like him and Jack O'Connell, it was like them two. And the really cool thing about this, and I mean, this is kind of obvious, but like what I loved about it how the mirroring of those two characters was quite similar in a way. So like when they did come together, it was almost like they were seeing each other but through a different lens. So like, the whole movie does deal with like when you have power, what do you do with it? And like obviously
mm,
Jack O'Connell like has this, he is the cult leader, right? And he's exploiting that power very much like Jimmy Savile, as we said earlier on, and like he's making people do things for him and killing and all of that. So he's really kind of pushing that into the darker side that we see, what you were saying about Ian earlier on. We see this all the time in movies. We've seen this before. Whereas I love the parallel with like the Doctor character where he is such a physically unimposing person compared to Samson. Like Samson is this brute, this
mm,
giant, and then like he has power over this brute, right? I mean, we see this in, literally when he's shooting the dart in him and he's like, calming him down, but also like in that what seemed random, but that moment when like he was in his little shelter and then he like got naked and sat down. And again, it's like that kind of metaphor of underneath the clothing, we're the same as
Yeah.
this naked guy,
mm,
But also like I am so physically imposing, but yet I've got so much power over you, but I'm using that power for good. Because he could have done anything with Samson in that state. He could have chopped his head off. He could have done
yeah,
anything, right? But he chose to look for that cure.
I mean, this not to bring it back to superheroes, but like Spider-Man of it all, right? With great
Yeah,
power comes
yeah,
great responsibility. And like,
exactly.
what are you doing with that power? Like, the Doctor is trying his best to do good and like is writing notes. So like, I do. I know this is maybe corny, but I really hope the third one ends with an end. I really hope it's like
Hmm.
the kid gets the doctor's notes, someone smarter that is also a doctor gets them, and they can just fucking
just to give us a little bit of a finale to it, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
put a point on it because they can do whatever they want in the future. They can bring the
Yep.
virus back,
right.
however, but like give us
Right.
like a completed sort of trilogy here, right? Especially with
Hmm.
Yes.
the years trilogy. Um,
Right.
and this one, like if this one is the movie about evil, like you were saying earlier, I'm glad evil didn't overtake the movie and that we did
Yeah.
have those
Yes.
that because it was a good
Same.
half of the movie that we still focused on the Doctor, and I'm really happy that we did that because it gave us that moment. Because I genuinely couldn't watch the what is it the de-shirting or whatever they
Oh
called it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't
That
watch it.
was
It was too
rough.
much.
It
Yeah.
was rough.
And I was
Mm.
worried that we were going to get a lot
Me
more
too.
of that
Yeah.
throughout the
Same.
entire
Same.
movie, and I just didn't want to see. Wasn't there to see a Terrifier movie, So
See, that was the for me, those were like the lulls when it was like, oh, we're doing this again. Oh,
Hmm.
they're just gonna kill these people again. Like
yeah,
I don't enjoy that. Not
yeah.
only is it hard to watch, but it's just for me that is just like so unenjoyably
Mm.
bleak
But we
Hmm.
that
only
I'm
really got
like,
one of that. Like we got that
Yeah.
example of them taking over that sort of like farmstead,
yeah,
and
but that
then
goes on for a while.
it does go on for a while.
We
But
go back to those skinned people, that
I
lady's
think
eyes rolling
everything that we're
around.
doing in there is important to like move us forward.
Agreed.
And then
Yeah.
going
That.
back to
Yeah.
the Doctor, it does. That is where we get our because it's so easy to make a movie and just kind of like tell a story, but not really progress anything in this world. And we're having real
Hmm.
progression here.
With the doctor, yeah.
We have found a
Yeah.
real cure, right? Like Samson is cured.
Yep.
He is, and I love how the Doctor describes it as like, with that question, is it your brain or is it a cloud over your brain?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we like, can the cloud clear? And
Right.
um, even the other infected realize that Samson is not.
Yeah. Oh, that scene
That
was
jump
so
scare,
good.
crazy.
That scene was so good in the train when like
and
he
that
Yeah,
like
jump
snaps
scare
out of
got
it.
me with the
Yeah.
lady asking for the ticket,
Yeah.
and like when she turns in,
yeah.
like I don't know why it got me, but I like fully jumped.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it
No.
feels jarring and it feels like unsettling through his perspective, and we're getting, him sort of like
Yeah.
maybe coming out of this psychosis and this virus being, linked to psychosis or whatever it's linked to, and he even gets blood spit on him again because they do that to infect people, right? And he
Right.
doesn't get
Yeah.
infected again, so he's cured, he's
Yeah.
immune.
Yeah, he gets
And
bitten as well, and he's fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah, and
it's that's wild. So they have to do something with that in a third one, you know?
yeah. I
Like,
mean, there is the one thing that the doctor said where I'm a bit like, but surely, as you said, Ian, he's been recording his notes, so hopefully, like Spike takes them. But like, he did have that one line where he's like, "I've only got 2 weeks left of morphine for you, so like, once this runs out," and that's the point when he's like about to inject him to put him down, and that's when he says, obviously, moon, and he's like,
yeah.
"Well, what did you say?"
I was like,
So like,
Simpson!
yes, Sam, say it again. Like honestly, like it was kind of like you felt like something was gonna happen, but like the second he said moon, I was like,
Yeah.
I was
I
like
was like,
gagged
it
in
was
the
never
cinema.
you, Simpson. I know it was never you.
Yeah, because he had the needle, I was like, oh no, is Samson gonna like jump and kill
I
him
was
because
worried
he
about
Like
that at
grab him,
every
yeah,
turn, that it was
yeah,
just going to be that moment that the virus took over and
yeah.
he did
I
something to
stopped
this
I
doctor.
the movie did a good job of like I was for the first few scenes I was like that, but then I was like, no, he is a main character. If he's going to die, it will be at the end. So
Mhm.
I like was confident that the doctor would make it. I was pretty
Yeah.
sure he was gonna die too. But
Right.
that scene was the one where I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my
I
god,
was
he's gonna
expecting
like
some sort of attack though that he would have to maybe fend
Yeah.
off. Like I did think it was going to get there because he was putting a lot of trust into Simpson very
he
early on,
was.
right? And
He
so
was. I wouldn't.
falling asleep next
I know, and he's like,
I
"Well,
was
my
like,
head's
this
still
shit is
attached."
crazy.
I'm like,
But when he did fall asleep, I was like, I think he's gonna wake up and it's gonna be completely fine. I thought he was gonna see Samson like running with the butterflies in the field or something. But I don't
he
know,
wakes
those
up
moments were
cuddling with him.
sweet too.
Oh my
And
God.
then
Let's talk about the Duran Duran of it all because fucking let's go.
the
So
music
like,
was pretty
and
great
you
for
know
this.
what? Like amazing. Like the fact when he's dancing with Samson to Duran Duran, like in the
Yeah.
Bone Temple, I'm like, give me 20 minutes of that. I'm fully in. I loved
Yeah.
it. But like, obviously the songs were like chosen purposely as well. Like when you hear like girls on film and then the camera looks at photographs of him with his wife on film.
Yeah.
But it's interesting as well because that song's actually about like female models like in the fashion industry and how they're
Yeah.
treated just like bodies and how they're overlooked. And then that's literally what the infected are like, right? Like they're no longer human, they're just bodies. So obviously it's been selected for a certain reason. Obviously, Hungry Like the Wolf,
The
Ordinary
Radiohead song.
Radiohead song, great needle drop. I mean, obviously we'll talk about Iron Maiden in a second as well. But even the song Ordinary World, that's one of my favorite songs of all time. So like as soon as I heard like Duran Duran was coming, I was like, this film better play Ordinary World because it fits so well.
It
And when
also
it
just
dropped, I
very
was like,
much stressed me out every time he would play a record. I'm like, that's too loud. That's too loud, and they're gonna
they all
hear
like
it.
thriller dance
I didn't
towards him.
remember. Why are they not? Why are the rest of them not coming and approaching
There
this
is a
guy?
reason, right?
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, one, this guy got the moat around like that area because you see in the first film like they have to take the rope like across to like pull themselves through the water because like the water pressure apparently is quite strong. So like, and apparently I think it establishes that they can't swim, so like they just get washed away by the current.
Mhm.
But also like Samson is wiped out like a lot in that area as well. So I guess it's that referencing back. I think that was like briefly mentioned in the first film, but it is
Yeah.
kind of that, or how we felt safe to
I
do
should
that.
have watched
Uh,
that first one right before this one.
Same.
Mm.
Because I was like, all right, on the bones, there's like something that repels. Like I was thinking, like I knew there was a reason, but I could not fucking
I was
remember.
also like, why is he orange? I did have to
What's that
think about
tan?
it. I had to think about it for a good bit because I couldn't remember until he said it.
I
Right.
always like I'm a sucker for like actual songs being played in
Yeah.
movies and
Mhm.
TV, so I loved this because we didn't get any in the one last year, right?
Don't think. I
I
think
don't
just like soundtrack, not like
Yeah, I
actual.
don't remember
Yeah.
him playing any like
Well,
records.
so like there is low key one song that is a real song that they all sing. If you remember, like once Spike and his father's been out to the island for the first time, and they come back and they have like that scene when they're all in the bar and they're all like drinking.
Mhm.
The song they sing in there is a real song, and that's like an old like pit miner like song, and that's kind of from my heritage, so I recognize that straight away. So it's very popular in the northeast of England, that song that they sing, but it's not like a hit. That's like a
Right.
community-based song. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. That's I'm more talking about like yeah, like
Right.
playing.
Duran
So
Duran.
I funny fact, I was like, wait a minute. Radiohead's Kid A is not old enough to have been played in this movie, because I remember it coming out, and and then I Googled it, and it is old enough to have been played, like
Damn.
something that would have been around. And I was like, fuck, I am turning 43
On
this
vinyl.
week.
Yeah. Did you both love his performance to 666, the number of the beast, the Iron Maiden
Incredible.
song?
Absolutely
So
incredible.
do you know he improvised that? Like all the dancing, he just
It looks
improvised that?
like it. It looks
Yeah.
like it. It looks like a lot of like Ralph work. He's such
I
a
also
phenomenal actor too.
didn't
Amazing.
fully understand what was going on, even though I thought it looked fucking cool. I didn't know what the thing was that
You're
he.
just supposed to be there. I thought he was
You are
putting
in
the
it.
fire out. I thought it was his like sneaky way of putting the fire out, but he didn't do that. So, but it was just like I don't know. Jimmy Crystal comes and confirms that he's not the devil, but he needs to go back with something because if he goes back and says
Hmm.
no, uh, I don't know. There's already he can sense what's going on with everybody and the questions that he has, and holding on to power is very important to him, and so
Yes.
works out this whole deal with the doctor and I'm so happy that the doctor, he has a name, right? Kelso?
Ian.
Ian?
Yeah, his first name's Ian, yeah.
Yeah.
Ian Kelson. Yeah, okay.
Kelson,
And
yeah.
that he was so down to do it because the theatrics that went into this. This is a gay man. This is Kelson is a gay man. It's interesting that he changed his skin from the orange to, a paler skin
Yeah.
with the darker, round.
Looks so good.
Mm,
I want you both to know that when me and my friends used to play Rock Band all the
mm.
time, they would make me sing this song because they said I sounded like Jack Black pretending to do Iron Maiden.
From
So yeah, it's a
Amazing.
song I would sing
we'll
on
have
Rock
to
Band all the time.
we'll have to do that.
Amazing.
I'll have to see that in
Listen,
person.
I'm gonna blacken my eyes right now. Let's go. But no,
What would
like
what would
I'm
be your song? What would be your satanic song that you have to convince everybody you're the devil?
God, I mean, Gods and Monsters by Lana Del Rey is such a hit. That
Perfect
maybe.
one.
That's a great one.
Just do a little abracadabra, but like the
Yeah, oh
Coachella
my God.
version. She
The
starts
full
out,
dance routine.
Dance or Die would be like the talking bit at the
Oh,
beginning that
that'd be
echoes through.
so good. Oh my
Um,
God.
he's looking it up. I can see it. He's gonna
I'm
pull it
looking
out.
up. Yeah, I'm like,
It's
what
like
would be my
devil
song?
songs.
Yeah.
Songs to convince a group you are
Devil
Satan.
songs. Category devil. Let's
Yeah.
go. Ian, what
Yeah,
would you dance to?
I don't know. I'm looking up.
Not the Black Parade.
It might be actually Adam. I was about to say it might be "Give 'Em Hell, Kid" by My
Ah, there you
Chemical
go.
Romance,
That'd be
Makes
good.
sense. Yeah.
since it's got hell in it.
Yeah. And again, like these are all people who because they looked pretty young, right? Like all the people
Yeah.
who were so they would have grown up in this stuff and they didn't have all the know about all of this stuff. So this is just
The other
crazy
Jimmys, you
shit
mean?
that they
Yeah, yeah.
this is
Yeah.
just crazy shit that they're seeing, this is like
Mhm.
wild and they don't have a whole lot of explanation for it. So like it's almost like their minds are still very childlike and a
Yeah.
Yeah,
child's
Yeah.
mind seeing this, of course that's the devil.
and they're
Like
being like controlled by a child
I was
mind. Like,
sold on the bone
Exactly.
temple when we walked in, okay? This is this is Satan's house.
But like I love as well, like just the whole movie shows just how like, and this happens with cults, right? When you have a cult leader who just fully
Yeah.
is fully so somebody that you can invest yourself into, where you're like, oh my God, I will follow this person to the end of the earth, and that's exactly what they see Jimmy like. They just believe every single thing except for the what's she called, like Jimmy Inc. is her name on IMDb, but like Erin Kellyman,
Yeah.
like
Jamina. Doesn't he call her Jamina?
thinks
That
so.
was
Yeah.
the
Oh
other
no,
one.
no,
That
no,
was
that's the other one
the
who
yeah.
with the wings on
Oh,
her back, who does like the Teletubby dance. That's Jamina,
oh.
or Jamima. But anyway, I just love how much like see him as this biblical figure of like, I will follow you to the end of the earth. Everything you says makes sense. Which is why at the end, when like Jimmy leads them into that temple, which looks so fucking cool, like the lanterns hanging up around, and when they walk in, like the ring of fire that he starts, and then all of that. Like I loved it, but I also loved that like. When Ian like recognizes, oh my God, these people were they're eating what I'm selling them as well. Like they're buying it because Jimmy obviously is buying it right now. And when he turns them onto him, like uses his own logic against him, so fucking good.
That's so smart too.
I
Yeah.
so I mean, I just need to say this out loud because duh. But yes, everything you said, Adam, I'm like, this is my dad voting for Trump. Like that's what all of this is. Like that's like all the parallel is, and I kept thinking of that So I wanted a better comeuppance. I gotta say, I wanted to watch that man get ripped apart. Like I wanted to watch his brain get like exploded out
Well,
of his
if you're
head.
not
By
dead
the
on
zombie.
camera, then you're not dead in the franchise. So
Mm.
I'm glad that he is probably going to come back then if we can
I
scrounge up
felt
the next movie.
well, no, but we see the. I mean, doesn't
Well,
He
matter.
we,
doesn't
we we
die.
see Samson come into frame like that as if he's going to pounce on him, but then it cuts. So we don't know
Yeah,
what Samson's going to do, whether he's pulling him off the cross or like, or he's just throwing him. We don't know what happens, and we don't see his body. So if the third movie opens with Samson dragging his dead body, fair enough. But like
great.
until we see it, you know.
Because I love a good comeuppance.
Mm.
There are very few villains that I'm like, I hate you so much. Like I get mad watching them. Um, and I love like Jawbreaker and Cruel Intentions have two of the best comeuppances in the
Mm.
history of film. And I love someone getting fully fucked by their own bullshit.
Hmm.
And I just, when he was getting nailed, I didn't think we were going to see him. And I was like, I'm annoyed. I know I want to see
Oh,
him.
we fully saw it, and I
And
felt
we
it in
did.
my little
Yeah,
joints.
Um,
yeah.
but I don't know. I was like, we saw Samson rip that other guy's brain out. Let me see him rip this
It
guy
should have been
brain.
Reese Witherspoon coming out with Jimmy's Diary. I agree. Should have been.
Can you imagine?
Hands
That
it
would
to
have been
Samson.
epic. But I did like a reference at the beginning of the movie though at that point when like you hear like random screaming, which is probably caused by like Jimmy like doing something to somebody, like you know, and you don't see what it is. But then I like that we just see clips of like shots of the Bone Temple and we hear Jimmy screaming at this point.
Yeah.
And obviously we know he's been nailed to that cross. So I did like that little reference of, you know, this time it's Jimmy screams, it's not someone that he's hurting. But yeah, seeing him upside down on that cross was pretty cool though. Like when he
But if
was
the next
nailed
one's
it.
supposed to be redemption, also, I don't want to see him redeemed either.
No.
I think that's a lot of evil being done, psychosis or
No.
not. And
I think I can
I
see the girl getting redeemed.
Yeah, I
Because
think
she did
that's
have
what,
to.
absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
And Samson, you know,
Yeah.
I think Samson's redemption's there as well for the amount of people he's obviously unintentionally
He
killed,
didn't
but also like,
choose to kill, so
Yeah.
I can forgive.
yeah,
He was Winter
yeah.
Soldiered.
What
I also is Samson just supposed to be like a big guy? Because
do you
I
mean?
kind of thought it was like, ooh, the virus turned him into this giant, is what like it was
Mm.
a mutation almost. But like then I was like, wait, maybe I was
I think
thinking that wrong.
maybe in my mind he was already kind of
Just like a
taller,
big guy.
but like
Mm.
normal. Because when we see him on the train, he's pretty average looking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I do think that he was one of those that the virus took to and like really
It did.
super
Okay.
soldiered him. So at
Hmm.
least in mine, I don't know what the actual lore of that
That's what I
is.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't know if because when he becomes back he didn't shrink. I was like, ooh, maybe I was wrong about that. And he just is like
No,
a
he
really
gets to
tall
keep his
man.
superpowers. He gets to keep his super body. Okay,
Keeps that big dick.
Also,
it's gift with purchase.
also, I gotta say, I fucking cried when he looked into the kid's eyes, Dr.
Yeah.
Ian, and he was like, wait.
Yes. That's
was
where
like,
I can see people
Yeah.
maybe getting confused because they don't have the context from the last one
Yes.
of these
Um,
two together.
But
Right.
so, because when do I not? I tie it back to like, I was like, man, I've been so depressed lately. And when he says, you have suffered enough, that's why I did this. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
fuck. And I was just like crying because it felt, this poor child. And like, we didn't acknowledge him enough throughout the movie, but I was glad someone was like, you have been having a lot of bullshit. Sure,
Mm.
you do not deserve this. And that was like such a relief for me to hear as a fucking depressed person, but also for this character. And I really like that from then on, the movie is slightly hopeful.
Yeah.
Because we get that end and it made me cry because I was like, oh, good, he did live. Oh, good. Now he's helping them. Like,
Yep.
and this is the exact same spot where he ended in the first movie, isn't
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
I was like,
that
I
house,
recognize
yeah.
these hills, and like I don't recognize shit.
Geography.
Yeah.
I was hoping that Kelly and Spike would kind of at least try to take Jimmy down. I was hoping we were going to get that moment, and I could see it because
Yeah.
they're still a duo at this point. So,
Yeah.
and Jimmy's not dead on screen, which means he's not dead in the franchise again. And so I do think it is going to be like a pair up of them against Jimmy at some point if we get that third movie. But I don't know. I was just like thinking of ways around like the Doctor having to die for this.
I know. I was
Because-
gutted
I
when
know.
he
I
died.
really didn't. I understood, and I thought he was
Same.
going to, but I didn't want him to.
Nah,
Yeah.
I was like, he just stabbed. He's fine. That's
I know. I'm like, do you know how many times that happened to student first guy? It's fine. Rub some dirt in it.
Get a
Me and Dale be
Band-Aid
like,
on
"How
there."
good I can start
Look at
running."
Samson. Look at it's all over.
Samson, take that rag off, wrap it round
Yeah.
him. Come on, let's go.
Oh,
But
Even put the clothes on.
but like even like I mean Spike for me like is such a joy. Like just to hear another actor with my accent on screen, like just it makes me pop so much in the cinema. Even like little things when he was like come with we, which means like come with us, which is like northeastern
Oh
slang,
my
which
God,
oh
y'all are
like
still speaking in Shakespearean languages.
one once died to
Right.
come with me. But
That's on my shirt. My shirt is quoting Shakespeare.
oh
Hither.
my God, there you go. Yeah, that's how I talk. That's what I say all the time. But
Uh,
no, but
I
like little things like just hearing that, like, and then Spike when he was like when Kelly says to him, "Oh, you have to go back in there early in the film," he's like, "I cannot." Like that's what I say.
Oh, and it
Like
was so
just
devastating every time he tried to escape. Like when he went up to the pregnant lady, and I
yeah.
fully get it. The pregnant lady wouldn't have trusted it.
She had every right to not
But like
trust
I was
him.
like, let
right.
him go with you. Take him. Take this little child with this
He's your
child's
new
face.
baby. Take
He should
him.
have taken his wig off, is what he should have done.
He
Hmm.
should have.
The
Yes, I
wig
think that
looked
would have.
Yeah.
chopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I was like, is she gonna go with him? Because if I were this lady, I wouldn't trust
Yeah.
this child.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably stab him before I left just to make sure he
Mhm.
didn't follow me. And like, yeah, but Adam, there were times when when all the Jimmies were together, I'd be like, I need subtitles.
I was trying to track color of tracksuits as well.
Mm,
You know, I think I was trying to keep track that way, but
mm. Yeah.
it was tough
Yeah,
sometimes.
there was a mixture of accents. Like obviously Kelly's very like London. There was a Welsh accent in there. It was the one that the guy who put like the knife in Spike's mouth, like that was a Welsh accent. So like they are geographically they were like from around like the United Kingdom, but obviously Spike is like my boy. He's like from
Yeah.
my neck of the woods. So like just as I said, every time he spoke, like and as well like in the first movie, like every time Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's not from that neck of the woods, but is putting that accent on, like every time he said stuff the way I say it, like "E how are son," that is my language. So I was like,
Said,
yes,
I wouldn't
loved it.
survive zombies if I was taking directions like that. Because what the
Yeah.
fuck you
What?
just say?
I'd
What
be
are we
like, say it
doing?
5 more times slower. Oh wait, I'm eating.
Speak English. But no, it just for me, like obviously as I've said, like watching that first movie in the cinema, hearing things like that said, the way like he said bacon, like the way I say it, like just stuff like that, like I just ate it up. And as well, like we mentioned this before recording, but like that shot in the first movie of like seeing that big statue with the bronze angel, it's called the Angel of the North. I've passed that 100 times, like in England, like that's very close to where I live, and like seeing those shots, like I got emotional, like in the
Yeah.
cinema because like that's home to me, and like I didn't know, I knew that it was filmed in the Northeast, but I didn't expect to see such iconic landmarks of the Northeast in a big film like this, and like
Yeah.
what I'm watching in America. So like for me, I was kind of sitting there in the cinema. I was like, you probably don't know, have
I
a
mean,
fucking
for
clue
both
where this is.
movies, the mileage was pretty contained, right? Like
Yeah,
all sort of like in the same area. So
Well,
you could
yeah,
because
next time you go back, you could totally go and do like a tour of,
hundred
those filming
percent.
locations.
you're gonna be like, you should
Yeah.
totally turn into a zombie. Don't forget though, like they even in the that for I hate the way we have to talk because I'm like the first one. Well, no, the one last year. That's not the first movie. That's the third movie.
Yeah.
The first 28 years, they do. It's like I assumed that it was like very much contained to the area where you grew up, Adam. Like I
Mm.
assumed that like everywhere else was fine. Because what the soldiers come from? Is it Germany that they come from?
Where do they come
Yes.
from? Is
Oh,
it?
I think it,
is it Sweden or
or it might
Germany?
have been
Or...
Sweden, but it's
Mm,
not like everywhere is taken over, right? They have contained it to
mm,
whatever small and like
And they mention that too, that
yeah,
it's they kind of let that was like at the very start of the last one that they have
mm.
left everybody on the islands that it is contained to fend for themselves.
yeah.
Mm.
I think there's pockets of it because if you think back to the first 28 days later, like that's filmed in London. Like he wakes up in a London hospital and like you see him walk across like London Bridge.
Well, but I got the impression that because in the second one they found a cure.
Right,
I don't
right.
actually I can't remember if they found a cure or they just like built up the city and then it
I
gets
think
invaded
contained.
again.
Mm,
So I took it as like wherever Cillian Murphy's character escaped to was not London, and then he's
mm,
in those hills, and those hills were in this area,
right.
and like London's probably okay, maybe.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Or it's like all of I don't know. But I took it as like what Zach, did you find out info?
Well, I'm just looking at maps. There are
Oh.
like fans have put together maps of like the infected areas and stuff.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but
But it is like so like segregated to England as well. Like we don't know if it's just like, the
Right.
United Kingdom or if it's as managed to spread. But yeah, but all that is to say is like just to see my hometown in areas that I recognize on the big screen is such a pleasure. And
I
like to
think
have like Spike as well, because that little actor, like this is the first thing he's ever done. So like he's
and he's
incredible.
good. He's so
He's
good. Yeah.
so good. Like
His eyes,
his
I
face
felt so
breaks
bad.
my heart. Yeah.
same,
Yes.
same his little face with that awful thirsty wig on. Like it's just his little face, like honestly breaks my heart. He's so good.
And that's why I think it was better that they filmed back to back because he's still
Yeah.
young. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't
he's that
have to
age where he
like fake
probably
it.
will grow up like
Hmm.
faster.
Hmm.
And I think I mean, Zach, I've said this. I feel like the last two times we've recorded, like whenever it's a kid, I'm more stressed out because I feel so bad because I'm like, man, what's that little kid gonna
Well,
do?
and I
Like,
felt like sickened seeing him in that wig too, just knowing the context behind Jimmy Savile and having a
Hmm.
kid to wear the wig. I felt really like just
I was really glad we
Yeah.
didn't get
yeah,
like kid rape shit because I
yeah.
Same.
was a little worried we
I
were
wasn't
gonna
ready for that.
get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and like the first one, remember they try to like rape the girl, so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna do that with the little
Mm.
kid, and I'm not gonna
Hmm.
like really like this if we do
I
that. And I
do
was like,
think there's something to be said more when a woman is directing about, depictions of
yes,
rape and sexual assault. And Nita Costa, oh my gosh, we have to talk about her for a little bit because
Yes.
Nita Costa is such like a shining creative, and she totally got like screwed on Marvel, but like when she gets shit like this, you really see the vision come through and why she is getting these jobs, right? Even with Candyman, like I didn't love the last Candyman, but the vision was there and it looked great.
Mm.
It had the chills, it had the scares. It was, and this one, let her do the next one too, because I really liked what she did with this one.
I
and
think,
listen, Marvel's got like shit on, but it's just like I thought she made a fun Marvel movie.
Hmm.
yeah.
Like I never like am too hard on those directors just because it's like I don't know, you got to like fill in the blanks and you got to make the
Yeah.
fill in interesting, but you can only do so much. And I feel like
Mm.
she worked well with what she had.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, she
and it was
came
a fun
through and said
movie.
she basically didn't direct that movie, right? Like there were so
No,
many
she no, she
changes and
did.
hands on it, right?
She
But
wrote it as well.
yeah,
Mm.
she did it, but then like yeah, while they're doing it, she kept having to change so much.
Mm.
Yeah,
I,
no, I
I'm
think she's really talented too. Yeah.
I'm just looking at her like IMDb page to see if she's ever done any music videos because like the way that was
Oh, I
shot at
could
the
see
end,
it.
like the
Yeah.
full performance of him doing like, Iron Maiden, like that is a music video. Like it so is,
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh, how
so
long that sequence probably fucking took too.
right, exactly. But like this movie as well had some absolutely stunning fucking shots. I mean, like everything of the Bone Temple, because like we do see it obviously in the first movie, as in the first 28 years later movie, but you don't see it in the way that you see it here. Like the way, like as I said, like when Jimmy leads the other Jimmys in, and like the way it's lit, and like the atmosphere of that, and then like the performance, like the Ring of Fire, all of that looked so fucking beautiful.
I
Like
was like,
such a
how long did it take him to set this up?
right, like how long was he climbing up that tower putting them lanterns up? But like it just looked fucking gorgeous. And there was some great sequences, like that sequence in the train when we were talking about when like Samson went in there and sat down and like he was having his memories flashback, which was Northern Rail, by the way. And then
That was
like when he
Adam's
like
train.
yeah, I was driving that bitch. But yeah, but then like I loved that sequence of when like he snaps out of it and then all of them are like climbing over the chairs and like looking at him. That
I
was
was
pure
worried for
horror.
I
him.
Yeah,
was, I
same,
was.
same. Yeah,
But
I
you
was like
can't
I
bring a
was
bad
Samson.
bitch down.
no, I was like, I can't believe I'm worried about the big scary big dick
He was
demon.
using his dick to just like slap bitches.
Because once they did puke blood on him, I was like, oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
now
and then when
he's
she
gonna go
bit
back
him.
and kill the doctor. But then nope, he
I
was
love
like,
that we
I'm
got
gonna
Yeah,
context
follow
with
you.
that train too, that we
same.
got like
Yes.
fill in for that. Like this is a
I
special place to him.
we
Yes.
we went back to that train twice in this movie, right? I can't remember what the first time
The first one
was.
was when he was removing the pregnant infected body to
Right.
clean the
The
Okay.
bones
doctor,
in
yeah.
place. Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
I thought I thought it was implied in the first one that that was Samson's like he impregnated her is what I thought because doesn't he get mad? Isn't it like that
He would
sets
have
him
had
off?
to. He would have had to, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess it could.
That's
Well,
what
I
I
don't
no,
know.
thought.
I don't know.
just think about the redhead that
Mm,
fled and hit Spike.
that's
If she gets
true.
bit, she gets turned.
That's true.
But when we went to that train, I was like, oh no, they're showing us that train again because Samson's gonna go to that train, realize this guy put the pregnant lady's body in the whatever. And I was like, there was a part of me that was a little worried Samson would remember that he had
Mm.
that zombie lady pregnant and then he's mad at the doctor for it. I was like finding ways to be worried, but it didn't matter. And I like,
Mm.
And that was a piece of lore that we left off with in the last one, and then this one we leave off with like sort of the immunity, the cure, and that baby was also that, right? Like proof that however that pregnancy fucking
Because
happened.
it was born, right?
Up in
Fine.
the
The
air,
baby was
yes, the
born.
baby is
Yeah, because like
fine. The baby. I
yeah.
was thinking, I don't know. I believed a lot of. I always believe a fucking fan theory. Y'all, I need to stay off the internet. But I was like sure that this one was gonna be that baby did have a little bit of infection to it and
Same.
was going to like take out
Same.
that entire island.
Yes, because we remember like Spike took the baby back to the island at the end, right, and left the note for his dad, and then he buggered off, and then we saw Aaron Taylor Johnson run out like looking for Spike, and obviously they had this baby,
Yeah.
like what the fuck. But yeah, like that's another thread that like needs to be addressed in this third
Well, I
movie,
think they're
which would
gonna
make sense.
connect.
I
Yeah.
was going to say yeah, which is why Aaron Taylor Johnson has to come back in the third movie.
Hmm.
Throw that to quote Adam, throw that baby in the bin. Like I just get rid of
No,
that
leave the
fucking
baby alone. The baby
I'm
is
like,
innocent, pure.
we're balanced on like 10 toothpicks keeping society
But we
alive.
need the doctor to discover the baby. Why is the
But the
doctor
doctor's
dead?
Dead,
dead.
exactly. Baby, bring the doctor back to life. Let's
We
do
need
Maybe
it.
Laurie
Samson
Strode is what we need.
maybe Samson will do a blood transfusion and then the doctor's like a hybrid.
Yeah, suddenly he's fine.
The doctor and Samson are together.
Oh, please
I
give me
was
that movie.
when they were dancing, I was like, is the doctor gonna fuck this guy?
Romance.
I was ready for like Brokeback Zombie. Let's go. Like I am ready for this.
Not a fucking broke my zombie. That's diabolical. We're all going to hell.
I was like, don't put that dick in your mouth, doctor. That's a gross dick.
But I mean,
don't
how
know.
is that dick now he's cured, you know? Just asking.
Well, and
As Zach said, it's comes with the purchase.
nice. I wonder if he'll be more cleaned up in the next one. You know?
Let's hope so.
Yeah, because he's looking a little funky in that one. Look, patch of the hair is like all missing.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
it's
it's
just the
matted.
hair that's missing, and it wasn't like a piece of scalp, right? Like it was.
No, it was just the
couldn't-
hair.
I couldn't tell
was the
what
hair.
I was
I
like.
couldn't
Is it
see.
like?
Yeah, it was just some hair, but also like them black big veins he's got like in his shoulders and everything as well. I'm like,
And it looked like
Yeah.
some sores on his back. Like,
yeah, yes, yeah, his back
Just needs to
especially.
be cleaned up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
So do we have any
exfoliation.
other thoughts for this movie before we start wrapping it up?
I don't think so.
I think I just really loved it. And I think it's interesting going back to what I was saying initially, like the first 28 years later for me would probably be a movie I would revisit more than this one because it's in a way like an easier watch. It's a bit more of like a straightforward, attach yourself to this character, follow the story. Whereas this, as we've said, like, you know, that scene in the barn and like everything, like those are moments that as you said, it's a lull, Ian, and for me, you know, it is kind of for me, it felt like it was designed in a way that no, you're sitting in this moment as well to feel the evil of this character, which is a tough watch. So like it's a as although I really enjoyed this, I will have to give it a little bit of time before I go back to it. Whereas that first movie, I think I could just go back tomorrow and watch it, you know.
I think
But
it would-
I love it.
I definitely agree with that. Like with this one, it feels like more of a decision to sit down and sort of
Yes.
get that heightened. And the previous one is a little bit calmer,
So,
tiny bit.
I also need to point out
Yeah.
in the one 28 weeks later,
Mhm.
there is a cure they find in 28 weeks later. I don't think they'll ever connect it to that movie again.
No.
And especially because I think everyone kind of hated that movie. Everyone is
Yeah.
incorrect, but the like whole point of that movie is the one girl's immune. She has like two different
Yeah.
color eyes, and Rose Byrne is like, oh my god, she is immune. She's not getting infected.
How do you hate a Rose Byrne movie?
And I mean, she's great in it, and you feel bad when she dies. It's like she's like this protector of the kids, and she gets fucking her head bashed in. And she's like so nice. But I kept thinking of that. I was like, oh, remember in that one? There is a cure. Like we found out there's people who are immune. We could go back to, but I don't.
Well, I think it
will.
adds greater context to this entire situation too, is right. Like there's probably are cures like in quite a few
Yeah.
spots that we just don't have. We're not able to communicate with each other, and we're not able to
Right.
Right.
facilitate.
'cause-
We can't hop in a lab. Where's Fred? He's dead. Illyria
Right, yeah.
died.
I'm not calling anybody. And like, well, so I was thinking of that because the movie is the kids get away at the end.
Yeah.
And they did the thing every zombie movie does that I fucking hate is
Mm-hmm.
the kids are going to Paris. Over the credits, you see a helicopter in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower with zombies all over it and like zombies running crazy. And I hate that.
Well, I hate it because
Day of the Dead
it
did that
never
too,
it
and I love
never
that.
wants us to like actually continue with the zombie story. Like we don't ever get a chance to do that in these fucking movies. And
Yeah.
the zombie genre is one of my favorites because I just never usually have a bad time with a zombie movie. It hasn't happened often enough for me to ever like question if I'm gonna like a zombie movie. I 9 times out of 10 I will go into it enjoying it, but we never get those continuations, right?
Mm.
I Zach, I feel like we just talked about this last year,
About
and you were
zombie
like,
movies? I hate found footage. I love a zombie movie.
but you didn't see Bones at all because you didn't want to watch like people
It's
getting eaten.
different. It's like these are zombies.
They are zombies in Bones and
but
all.
they look like people eating people, and it feels a little bit more cannibal-y. And
Zombies.
this doesn't feel cannibal. This feels like murder. I don't know. Somebody else has the answer for me on that one. But
Because
that,
I was thinking of you when Samson was eating the brain. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is like
Yeah,
really
that was nasty.
Zach.
yeah, it was nasty. But like, I don't
But
know. I love a zombie thing. Like my favorite one to go back and rewatch is there's a show on Netflix. All of Us Are Dead. I think we've all seen it, right?
yes, yes,
The
great
Korean
show.
show, fucking amazing.
Great
I
show.
can't wait till the second
Set in the
season. Have
school.
you?
Ian, you would
No
love
way. You
it.
have
You would love
absolutely.
it. It's set in a school. It's like
I
teenagers
could have
trying to
I
survive.
know
sworn
what
we
it
talked
is.
about
I've heard
it.
of
Yeah,
it,
You
but
would
I
love it.
never
It's
watched
so good. And
it's
speaking of
very good.
speaking of shows you would love, Zach, you need to watch Dead Set.
I know.
It's
I've
Ian and I
heard about
watched
it.
it.
I
It's
should.
literally
I need to.
it's you. It's like the Big Brother house, a zombie apocalypse breaks outside, they don't know, and then a zombie gets into the house. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that first episode is
And you said it's
genius.
like actually the people who like the announcer is the announcer
Yeah. So
from
like the host
right?
is Davina McCall. She like literally hosted Big Brother. So like, and then she gets the zombie makeup on and like acts as a zombie. It's really her, which is so fucking cool that they leaned
And
into
how
it.
fun was that for them? Probably like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. She
oh,
loved it.
cool.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. She loved it. She openly said it like in an interview. She was like, and it's Charlie Brooker, the guy that did Black Mirror. It was like one of his early things that he did was Dead Set.
Where's that
But yeah,
streaming at? Do you know?
Netflix is where we watched it, Ian, right?
yeah, but that was like 4 years, 5 years ago, Adam.
Right. Yeah. Might have to
Have to
might have
go
to look into that one.
give it a
But
search. Give it a go.
I will say, like 28 weeks later, the opening is genuinely one of the best openings to any movie ever.
I think
It
that
is
opening,
fucking fantastic.
it's what, Adam, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
I think
Yeah.
that opening itself is the best zombie movie. Like, I genuinely like.
Mm.
I remember getting like welled up with tears when, because so many people are dumb and no one like understands how things work. So many people are like, oh, well, he deserves to die. He left his family. He literally could do nothing. There was nothing he could do. They were going to die. So
Right.
like either he watches them die and dies or he runs. And I like, for me, I thought that was like the point is how emotional this is because he does have to leave his family.
If you're gonna
'Cause
run from
that's-
these ones, you got to get a head start too. Like it's
Uh-huh.
that's
But,
your
like,
only chance.
that was the only option. And like, for me, that's why it's good because it's so like, oh, fuck, this guy had to leave his family. Fuck.
Mm.
And like, I just think, and when that music plays, when he's coming over the hill
Yes.
running, and then
Oh
they
my
all
God.
come up.
Yeah.
Ooh, so good. So good. Speaking of, real quick, you mentioned how like it was emotional for you watching the last one, World War Z, which is like a fine zombie. It's,
I love World War Z.
it's fine.
Brad Pitt.
I feel like it's mostly hated, but I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like a video game zombie movie, kind of, where like here's a level, you gotta defeat it. Here's
It's
another
fun
level on a
stuff.
plane.
It's all fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I cried watching that because starts in Philly, and I don't know if they filmed or they just did overhead shots, but there is an overhead shot that is where I have been in Philly, and it's just like all the zombies ripping everyone apart in the city and like
Oh my
running
gosh,
through.
not you tearing up over there.
And I watched it with my roommate Kevin at the time, my straight best friend, and I remember being like, "Man, I'm getting so emotional because that's like where we hang out in Philly." And turning to him, and he had already fallen asleep on the couch.
Wow.
Me. Wait, okay. So then to close this out, where would y'all set a zombie movie? What would be your zombie scenario if you had to come up with one?
Hmm.
I have
honest-
one already. It's excellent. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Zach.
January 6th with zombies.
I think
So wait, are
this
we
is-
doing dates or like or anything?
No, just whatever your scenario
okay.
is. I'm
I
talking
think
about
me-
January 6th.
mine like to bounce off that a little bit, obviously America, but like I think in the middle of Times Square during the ball drop, I think would be perfect because there's so many people there. So I think that would be pretty awesome.
That'd be a good
So,
moment too. It hits
I'm-
you and just
I'm going the opposite.
Yes.
I'm going like actually suburbs. Like not like it starts in the suburbs and they go to a city. No, it's like in the suburbs, like where I live, and just like stupid families.
your house.
And
Mm.
like for me, that would be harder
Mm.
because there's not a lot of places to hide, and it's kind of just like flat.
Yeah.
Like
It's
in a
very
city, it's like, oh, barricade in this building or barricade and like there's not that in the suburbs to like. There's not a giant building that has
Yeah.
supplies.
It's very
Let's
Shaun of the
go.
Dead.
We have to go to the
Yeah.
Wawa to get supplies. We gotta
Right,
go
right. I'm like,
get some pizzas.
they might have some soft pretzels. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I love a zombie. That's fun. I hope they come back with like a Zombie Land, like a third one day.
Yeah,
Didn't it? I
yeah.
thought they did a third one and it didn't do well.
Did a
No, they did a
sequel.
second one, and I think it
Oh,
made more than the first one did.
oh,
So,
really?
mhm.
Yeah, it was
I
all the
never
same
saw the
cast
second
as
one.
well.
Bigger budget too, also. So that
And they all
factors.
seem to
But
like really like each other and have fun working
and
together.
it's like in
Yeah.
every 10 or 9 years, something like that. Yeah, it's like in every decade kind of movie.
I
So
know it was a while between the
Yeah.
first and
I
the
think
second.
that's
Like
what their
Abigail
plan is for the
Breslin was
next
an
one.
adult in the second
Right.
one.
Yeah. I don't know. Keep it going. You build these worlds out. Keep them up. I think World War Z was supposed to have a sequel also, and they just
Yeah.
never
It
never
did. I think I
figured
remember
that
it
out.
doing well, but people just didn't like it.
I feel like there was some legal thing that a reason they couldn't get on board
I
with
don't
another one.
remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
28
You, s-
generations later.
At this point, man. But give me Donald Trump as a zombie. It'd be fun. Anyway,
Christ.
with that, we're gonna close out. Adam, where can everybody find you?
You can find me dancing in the Bone Temple with Samson to Duran Duran. No, seriously, you can find you can find me at Strawn87 on everything. If you want to find my podcasts, one's called Last Week On, which Ian said, and the other one, which both of you guys have been on,
Mhm.
and the other one you've also been on, which is Into You podcast. Type those in, you'll find them everywhere.
Yeah, perfect. And then yeah, I mean we're on Spotify and Apple Music, and you can go and give us a 5-star rating. Just do that. If you have anything mean to
yeah.
say, you can say that too. That's fine. Um, just give us the engagement.
Remember,
And
Zach said it was fine to say mean things about him. I do not say it's fine to say mean
I'll
things.
take it. I'll take it. Okay. But yeah, thank you all so much. Let us know what you thought of 28 years later, the Bone Temple, and what you'd want to see in the third one. And we'll catch you in the next time.